civilization is an alien transplant. And in going into space, we are actually going back home. From that perspective, it's very much in alignment with the ancient astronaut theory, where human beings strive to reconnect with these ancient gods through efforts like creating a more advanced space program.
What made Tsiolkovsky and others like him so certain that aliens existed and that space travel held the key to humans reconnecting with these otherworldly beings? For the answer, ancient astronaut theorists point to Tsiolkovsky's writings, in which he described extraterrestrial beings sending messages and information to mankind from the stars. He also wrote that he himself had personally received a number of interplanetary communications.
Tsiolkovsky experienced tremendous sightings in his life. One was in 1889. He was looking at the sky, and all of a sudden he saw a perfect cloud in the shape of a four-pointed cross flying over him.
Tsiolkovsky believed that the universe is teeming with life, and these forms of life were influencing and guiding human evolution in history.
He also felt that he was receiving telepathic messages from extraterrestrials. This leaves us to ponder, was he actually in contact with intelligences from out there? Did they guide his hand? Did they supply this?
The last book of the Bible describes a terrifying vision. The battle that marks the beginning and the end of the world, of history, of time. The forces of good, the forces of evil, and the result will be destruction on a scale beyond human imagination. Armageddon. But while the story is the stuff of prophecy, rather than fact, the place Armageddon does exist. It's called. Across 60 centuries, this hilltop has seen the rise and fall of cities.
The walls are gorgeous, curved exactly the way that we would do it today.
Now, our investigators have come here to understand why, of all the cities in this blood-soaked land, the writer of the book of Revelation chose Megiddo.
What is it that inspired him to find this site as the site of his vision of Armageddon?
This is the lost world of the city of Armageddon. This is Megiddo, an ancient settlement in northern Israel which takes in a large hill and proclaims Megiddo.
Ghey.
In ancient Hebrew, the word for hill is har, and for 2,000 years, the har at Megiddo has
I did not know that
been
was gonna make that much
tradition
smoke.
says
Jesus.
is the ultimate showdown between good and evil. Megiddo has become
What's up, Jay Lee? Do you want to see my PCC?
St. John the Apostle set out his vision of the
I
apocalypse.
just cleaned this bad boy just for you. Look at that shit. I even got a new shooting shirt. Check your text. You can't see it. Well, Alchemist is my stepdad. What the fuck? Yeah, I put it's all like FD and shit. What do you mean you can't stay long? AT, you got responsibilities, bro. And one of your responsibilities is to stay here. Hold on, I want to show you my my CZ. But I want to put a mag in it so it looks extra dope skis.
The place where in the future good and evil will meet and reality
of Christ. Megiddo belonged to a people called the Canaanites. Back then, this place is
I got a bunch of fucking prescriptions right behind it.
5 centuries on. That has not changed.
It's a crossroads now, a massive crossroads. It's a mess of trucks and cars. You can see the road heading south by west towards the sea, and another one more by south by east. And, well, Megiddo, the mountain, is a shadow of it. And all around us is chaos.
We got Jay Lee back before GTA 6.
Why is Megiddo so important?
What is up, Arizona kid? What's going on?
Easy way who came between Egypt and Mesopotamia.
So then Megiddo itself
Chanson is live too. Cool. I guess he's reloading on his new reloader. Yeah, right. Yeah.
To the east, the wealthy lands of Israel. To the north, the land of the Hittites. The south belongs to the mighty Egyptian Empire. The Egyptian pharaoh Tutmosis was the first of many to identify Megiddo as a place of great strategic value.
It'll be fine.
To capture Megiddo is to capture 1,000 towns. Tutmosis realized that Megiddo was vital to his nation's trading interest and decided to make it his own. What followed was the first battle in recorded history. And though it was fought 35 centuries ago, we know exactly how it unfolded.
I don't think he's even set his reloader up yet.
The record is carved into the walls of the temple of Egypt. Tutmosis was proud of his victory.
What up, Larry?
He wanted it to be.
Crack-a-lackin'.
As a result, what we have is a blow-by-blow account of the battle. Its key point is a tactical maneuver so cunning and so
I'm just reloading my
psychologists today.
119 power factor
The hieroglyphs
loads.
that the pharaoh assembled his army south of the mountains that surround Megiddo. The Canaanites were waiting for them. They guarded both the southern and northern approaches to the city in case of attack. So Tutmosis took a third, far riskier route.
Alright, AZ. I'll see you later, bud.
If they were spotted, the Egyptian army would have had no escape route. They would have been slaughtered.
So the troops are displayed out there on the plain. They realize that Tutmosis' troops are coming right through the pass and not from the south further, not from the north.
But the gamble paid off. When Tutmosis attacked, he did so with the advantage of complete surprise.
Tutmosis defeats them quite handily, as it turns out, in spite of their defensible position up the hill. But then, as his troops are busy plundering, the survivors take refuge in this citadel, which is here.
Even in the face of the pharaoh's decisive
Going back to the
victory on
pre-major level of powder FV.
held out.
They've managed to
Back to
sustain a
3.7.
Tutmosis is hardly able
When I did chrono, that shit was way fucking high too. I chronoed at 12:49. I was like, what the fuck?
Before the coming of the Egyptians, archaeological finds of
This is way higher than I needed it to be.
predates the first recorded battle in the world. Our investigators want to decode these dates to find out just how far back Megiddo's history stretches. Ori Soltesz.
Are you not in Idaho anymore? Did you come to Texas?
This is also a window into the history of this land, and it takes you through some of the big names, like Tutmosis, that you can see the stratification, the accumulation of many cities, one on top of the other.
how many strata?
30 cities, one on top of the other, covering a span of time starting in late Neolithic times.
Washington State?
Something like that.
Don't their gun laws suck?
Takes us from way before we get to Tutmosis. So
Through the evidence found on the ground here,
Go visit Carson.
at Megiddo for over 6,000 years, making it one of the most ancient in the world.
It has various names like Telalio.
Our engineer Mark Telesnik meets Norma Franklin. She's agreed to show him some of the oldest parts of Megiddo. The hill appears to
Well,
be
well, well. Look who decided to show up. If it isn't Smokey himself.
It's a flight of steps going up to the altar. They have cut marks in them. That is the questions. Whether they were used for putting water libation in there or oil. There's one there. But whether these steps were used by a priest or a number of priests, or whether they took animals up here for sacrifice, we don't know. But what we do know, here we have pure unadulterated cult, sacrifice, temples, everything that goes with it.
4,000 years before St. John made Megiddo a site of importance to the Christian faith. This was a place of older religious practice. Story so famous, the foundations of what many of them are the world's oldest places of worship.
This is really a fantastic monument because it's extremely well built, extremely monumental. You can see the northern wall over there, the big one, about 4 meters thick. And then in between you have 13 feet thick. Right. And in between you have the wall, the temple, and 6 big basalt pillar bases.
So this is what the round object there is.
The pillar bases supporting wooden pillars, which they're supporting the beams of the roof.
Interpret what archaeologists have found. It's possible to get an idea of what this very early temple may have looked like. Stone walls, 8 feet thick, or roof supported by pillars built on stone foundations.
The Rhino 44 mag. The Taurus.
There are cracks. Right.
Nothing's ever going to be as cool as my Model 29.
These and other cracks, similar cracks, and this is evidence for a major earthquake that wrecked Megiddo and destroyed the temple and made the people leave and abandon the site for about 2 centuries. And this is not surprising because Megiddo is sitting on a major fault, the Carmel fault, so it is sensitive to seismic activity.
The first temple that was destroyed, it fell not to an army, but to an unstoppable force of nature. A mighty earthquake destroyed not only the temple, but the entire settlement. It tore through the city's foundations. Could it be that the natural disasters that took place here were part of what led John to name Megiddo as the site of the ultimate catastrophe?
Rainbow finish.
The land itself carried the threat of annihilation. Our investigators have discovered that 6,000 years ago, Megiddo was an important place of worship, a place of temples and sacrificial altars. That it was first destroyed not by war, but by earthquake. And yet it became the site of the first recorded battle on Earth. At the crossroads of empires, Megiddo commanded a strategic military position and would be fought over for centuries to come. It was one of the most highly defended cities in the ancient world, protecting one of the greatest temples in history. Our investigators are in northern Israel on the road to Armageddon.
Doesn't look very fierce where we are now. Doesn't remind us of anything that would have to do with destruction.
They've discovered that Armageddon is a real place, Megiddo. That it was the site of the first battle in recorded history. That it existed thousands of years before even then as a sacred place used by pagans for worship. And that it was the site of a catastrophic earthquake. All these may have contributed to John, author of the book of Revelation, identifying Megiddo as the location of the battle and the end of the world. Now, our investigators want to find out more about Megiddo when it first entered Jewish history, an era John would have known about, and which may have influenced his vision of its apocalyptic nature. In the 12th century BC, Megiddo had already had several incarnations as a city. Defenses were in place. It had been constructed with precision.
You guys are still getting snow. It's like 85 degrees today.
The city was built during the time of Thutmose III or immediately afterwards under the patronage of the Egyptians. And they would have had a huge mud brick arch here. In fact, you would have had a construction sort of vaulting of 3 arches going across, and then they would be interconnected. So this whole gateway would be wood building. This is limestone, and at the bottom, where you needed protection from the rainwater coming out of the city, or the passages were real water, they put basalt. So this was extra strength. Basalt was exceedingly strong.
And Israel Finkelstein shows Ori Soltesz.
Israel Finkelstein.
This is one of the chambers of the gate. We are in the gatehouse, exactly.
So the conqueror has to come through here,
Right.
and what's left and right.
And this is the most sensitive part of the communication of the city.
Years have gathered. We can now definitively either was it made or appeared in the 12th century before Christ.
Gotten? Is that a word, FV? Gotten?
The Israelites
Got tone? We got tone.
tower. Earth was banked up around these walls to create steep ramparts. The city had a formidable gate, and yet it still fell. We know this because Scripture records the event. For although John was the last person to mention the fall of the Bible, he wasn't the first. The Old Testament tells us that after Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, he passed the leadership of his people onto Joshua. Joshua took them on a war of conquest. Tradition says that as they marched with the Ark of the Covenant, the holiest icon of Jewish religion, they
Do you think it's even worth it to mill my SPO1 FV?
scholars with Jewish ancestry
I don't really
have been familiar with this
think so.
John would have had great knowledge of the Hebrew Bible, and he was a learned man. He would have known about the great battles that always took place at Megiddo, and this had a profound effect on the thinking at the time, and it would have carried on down to the time of
What up, Tommy?
So Joshua tore down the walls of Jericho, and he also taken Megiddo. Ori Soltesz wants to know what evidence there is for Joshua conquering the city.
There's a reference to Megiddo, and Joshua fell. This Megiddo became Megiddo among the cities that he took.
I like my SPO1.
Do we have any evidence?
It's cool. I'm the only one with an SPO1 around here at least.
It has Joshua.
There's a few on the
No,
internet.
there's no evidence for God's evidence for the destruction of the Canaanite city.
But if you want to sell me a good one,
Connected.
it's already all decked out. By all means,
Canaanite Megiddo, can be dated
I'll
around-
trade you an SKS for it.
Supposedly the time which fits the logic of the conflict.
Having taken the city, the Israelites held it for centuries and would continue to strengthen and fortify Megiddo. Under their leadership, it took on a new, more important strategic importance.
M1A
In the 10th century,
308.
the city of
I have
Armageddon
the
was
I have an M1 Garen.
according to the Bible.
My favorite.
Solomon built a spectacular gateway. He did so because he knew that if Megiddo was recaptured, the nation and its capital Jerusalem would be vulnerable. Ori Soltesz wants to learn the gateway's practical purpose.
This is the famous Solomonic gate.
So we're walking through the gate.
Yes, it's
This is back before we knew the
and then
Israel was evil.
Right.
and then a view, and then another chamber, and then a third chamber, and we are still in the gatehouse.
That's why you gotta reload
The
it.
gateway was essentially a tunnel, channeling traffic into the city through a network space. The recesses in the walls were each wide enough to hold a chariot with 2 horses.
The gate was connected to a system of fortifications. There was a big wall, a solid wall, 3.5 meters, which would make what, 10, 11 feet. It's a long passageway.
In addition to the gateway, there were towers set into the walls that encircled the city. Massive resources were
Gaga.
What's up, bud?
I said
because they
Goo Goo
were able to
Gaga.
guard
I heard you.
the people inside
Goo Goo Gaga.
the entire
Alright,
nation
fine.
of Israel.
Goo Goo
Go play
Gaga.
your PlayStation.
Next,
I said
Stop watching the brain rot.
Reason Solomon
Like
was
what?
so desperate
Like
to
whatever
take
you're
Jerusalem,
watching.
home to the sacred
Gaga.
part of
Go.
Judaism, the Holy Temple. Because the king of Megiddo
What's the big
destruction.
Put it down. It's for your sister. For her birthday.
Their original Armageddon. exploring Armageddon, the ancient city of Armageddon. They've discovered that 3,000 years ago, King Solomon went to great lengths to fortify the citadel. And now they've come 60 miles south to Jerusalem, the ancient capital of the Jewish nation, to find out why. They're looking for traces of the structure that Megiddo was intended to protect. The apocalyptic vision of St. John, a follower of Christ, may have its roots in what Solomon built here, the first temple. It would become the focus of their worship, the core of their identity. Ultimately, it would be destroyed. For centuries, people schooled in the Jewish tradition, John among them, would look back on it as the greatest catastrophe in their history, a kind of first Armageddon.
The temples in Jerusalem was absolutely everything. Nothing could go on without the temple. It covered every aspect of people's lives. If you were a farmer, you couldn't eat of your own produce until you had taken an offering to God, because God lived in the temple. His spirit was in the temple. Trying to reconstruct the temple and understand what sort of building it was is very, very complicated. It's near impossible for us as archaeologists to fully understand what was there, because we can't excavate on the Temple Mount today. So it's a piece of detective work to try and reconstruct.
It remains of Solomon's temple, but Howard investigators have set themselves the task of discovering what this most sacred building looked like.
Today, the Jerusalem skyline is dominated by the Dome of the Rock, built in the 7th century. But before that, there was a Roman temple. Before that, heretics found the Second Temple. We're looking further and further back to Solomon's temple, under thousands of years, under myriad layers of material, to ask what that temple might have looked like.
The Book of Hebrews says that the walls of the temple were made of stone blocks, asphalt, cut and finished before they were brought to the construction site. Mark Telesnik goes to see what the building blocks of the temple would have looked like.
We know that Solomon's temple was built from asphalt blocks similar to this in size. And Solomon's temple has the ability to make holes like this. They would then put wooden blocks up on top and wet them. When the blocks wet, they expand and cause the rocks to break the wood.
Stonemasons today use heavy machinery to work this hard stone. When the temple was built, each block would have been cut by hand.
I can't imagine how much time and how much work and effort must have gone into taking one of these things, trimming them all sides in all directions, and we're just talking about one quality. It has to make hundreds and thousands of these blocks in order to get everything ready for the temple.
Louis Soltesz wants to describe what the temple looked like as a whole. We know its dimensions. As scripture says, its length was 60 cubits, and its breadth 20 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. But in order to put that into perspective, we need to know how big a cubit is. Dr. Gabby Barkheit has made a discovery that could hold the answer. It lies hidden beneath the Church of the Dominican Fathers in Jerusalem. This is a rock-carved tomb, which preserves the style of architecture used in the time of Solomon. Most intriguingly, the dimensions and proportions suggest that these buildings were a particular unit of measurement, equivalent to approximately 21 inches. This led Dr. Barnett to say that they made an Egyptian cubit, said to represent the length of a pharaoh's arm.
The measurements are exactly 8 by 8 by 7 cubits. The height is 7 cubits, and it is the length is 10 cubits. The proportions are very close to the human eye. These are done exactly in the long Egyptian cubit, which probably was the standard measurement used in Solomon's temple.
So, what aspects of the decor here would connect us to Solomon's architectural style?
The meeting point of the ceiling where the walls has those stucco cornices, which is a very nice feature.
In Solomon's time, we know architects used wood to level the walls, wooden mechanism to support the ceiling. It's a style that's mimicked here in stone.
So they've cut cornices out of stone as if they were wooden beams.
Yes, it is written in the